Ching, ching, ching. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this fortnight's edition of the Creative Blog and Article Writing Show with me, Sab in Paris. Here I am, wearing a rather fetching Happy Therapy 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗚 mug. So therapy is therapy, happy is happy, and 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗚. So I don't know what it means, but it's a rather cool mug. You know I collect mugs. This isn't my mug, but So how are you doing? Hope you're doing fine. I hope I've got a connection here. It's looking a bit weak. So today I'm going to create the show with you. I'm going to try and see what would be the best way for the show to look like. So I've actually got a Word document which I'm going to show you. So that's the group that you belong to, maybe, or if not, you should do. Creative Blog and Article Writing group on Facebook. You can join it, you can contribute. We have a new theme every week. And I'm actually going to share this Word document. And this is supposedly the structure for today. I'm going to introduce myself. Then I'm going to show you some of my latest stuff. Not too much, because I've got a lot of other stuff to do. Now I'm thinking it might be nice to have a feature where I look at somebody else's writing on writing, and I've found a couple. So interesting. You see, I'm writing on the writing show. Isn't that rather cool? Interesting articles on writing, because a lot of people have said a lot of interesting things about writing, so I don't see why we shouldn't jump in and, you know, be inspired from them. Then of course we can have some good writing, some interesting writing, writing from the greats. I say the greats, but you know, to be honest, some people like certain writers and some people don't, and other people who like them won't like them, and vice versa. So in a way, it's some interesting writing from the well-knowns rather than from the greats. And I'm saying that to inspire you to realize that anyone has the right to write. And I encourage you to write anything you want in the group, and it will be welcomed. So what about your writing? So let's have some of your writing. Maybe this is the most important thing of all. I don't know. 6 will be my thoughts on any and all of the above. And this will be running through the show. My thoughts on any and all of the above. And I think that's pretty much it for now. So let me launch into the beginning then. I'm going to go back to this. By the way, say hello in the chat if you would like to. I've got a lot of stuff coming, a lot of thoughts coming in the next hour, but it's your show, so I'd love to have more of your stuff to talk about, and your comments and your questions. I will answer questions on anything. I won't necessarily have an answer, but I will answer, if you see what I mean. So this is so let me just tell you a little bit about myself, if it's the first time you're watching. So I'm Sab in Paris. I say that because I've been in Paris for half my life now. I adopted the city, or the city adopted me. I can't remember which. I kind of sold my soul to the place, and for some reason this city inspired me creatively greatly. So I think of the city as my creative inspiration. I think of the Eiffel Tower as my artistic muse. And I think it's a good thing to have a muse. I think a writer should have a muse. What is a muse? Well, it's whatever you want it to be, but it's something that is symbolic and inspires you. It could be a mug. You know, you could have your favorite writing mug. I remember when I was a boy and I was playing chess with my dad. So I was 4, I think, and he was probably 44 or 24 or something. Obviously, he was a bit better than me, but haha, I had my tea cozy from the teapot, and that was my thinking cap. And when I had my thinking cap on, I was unstoppable. So that maybe that was my muse. You know, it's something you can have near you. It could be a stuffed toy, a cuddly animal. It could be your dog or your cat. In my case, it happens to be the Eiffel Tower. I've even anthropomorphized her. She's a woman, and she's called Lady Eiffel. There you go. And she is the sort of mascot for my writing, my daily writing on Paris. So I've got someone saying hello. Is it Dorothy? It's Dorothy. Hello, Dorothy. Nice to have you here. Dorothy, you're a star. You're writing so much at the moment. We're going to look at some of your writing in a minute. So my writing covers 4 main areas. I could say 5, but let me show you what I mean. When I say creative blog and article writing, what I mean by that is, what sort of writing can you contribute? What sort of writing can I feel that I have something to say about? Well, the thing is, an article is an article, so that could be seen as a type of writing, right? But blog writing, you can write anything on a blog. So to be honest, it's any type of writing. But where I write, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say where I'm strong, where I'm weak. I'm just going to say where I write is articles. I'll show you in a second. Articles, poetry, chronicles on Paris, mainly Paris and thoughts, and memes, and occasionally short stories. So 4 or 5 things. Plus, this might seem strange to say it, but blog posts and replies to people's blog posts. Now, that might seem strange to you, but when I write a reply to someone, sometimes they're quite elaborate replies, and I make an effort to make it, as good as it can. When you write, every word counts. And one of the articles we're going to look at in a minute is called the 24 Maxims of Writing. And it's an article. I haven't really seen it. I'm going to look at it with you. And the first thing of the 24 maxims is called the word. And the second was is the sentence. And it's right that every word counts. In writing, maybe much more so than in speaking. So we'll have a look at that as well. When I write articles, I write them on something called lazipig.com. I'm thinking of publish on Medium. Do you know Medium? I've taken a couple of articles from Medium that I'm going to look at in a second. By the way, tell me in the chat, what's your favorite type of writing? You watching right now, hello. What is your favorite type of writing and why do you like it? What does it give you? Or what are you trying to share with other people? What is your favorite type of writing at the moment? So my writing on what I'd call articles, they're still in my style, so they're not, wordy academic stuff, are on lazipig.com. So I'm just going to click on Creativity Bites, and this is talking about creativity, and I'm going to click on one of these, and you'll see the sort of articles that I write. I write on 4 topics on this website. One is about creativity, which is like having ideas. Another is productivity, so getting those ideas out there. The third is, I call them infinity bites, and that's like more deep and meaningful wondering about life, the universe, and everything. And then the 4th type is what is it? Can't even remember my own. Curiosity bites, and that's the weird and wacky side of life. There's a lot to laugh at in life, so I do. And this is what one of my articles looks like, just to give you an idea. Okay, so it's got a title. Your art isn't worth the paper it's painted on. And then it's got the number of it, so it's Creativity Bites 2. This is a little introductory paragraph, and with a cartoon. And then I give it titles. I give each couple of paragraphs a title, breaking it up. So there's the title, there's a paragraph, there's a section. There's a title, there's a section. There's a title, a section, 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 a title, a section. So what was that, 10? Something like 10, 8 or 10 titles with sections. So that's a typical article from me. They can be shorter or they can be longer. There's no right or wrong, of course. Now, if you want to be like a top writer on, Medium or something, there are people that will tell you what sort of articles sell the best or are read most. Sure. But in the end, who are you writing for? Well, it depends. You should be writing for yourself because it's fun. So you should always be doing it because you're enjoying it, but you should also be doing it for a specific person. You should have someone in mind if possible. If you're just getting your stuff out there, it's fine. It could be good, that's fine. But if you want more and more people to read your stuff, you should have a certain type of person in mind. It could be a person like you. But that helps you to focus it. I must admit, when I write my stuff, I'm just thinking that maybe there's people out there like me who will enjoy my stuff. So that's a typical article. Poems, they could come in the shape of, well, I'll show you my two other types of writing. So this is something I write every day. I've found a format. I can encourage you to find a format. And the format I have found is on top of one of my photographs. The challenge is to write regularly, and I recommend you write daily or weekly. But how do you do that? You know, what are you going to write? Is it a page in your journal? Is it 100 words? Is it 500 words? Is it a poem? Is it an article? Is it a thought that comes to you, an insight, maybe a maxim, or something that's going to be part of a meme? Maybe you put your words on top of a photograph. What is it? What is your thing? And you don't have to find a thing, but what happens is when you find something that you really like and you do it regularly, you start to build up a library, and you think, this is really cool. I could have a book one day. So it's actually pretty cool to get a type of writing that you like and to do it again and again and again. Nothing beats doing things again and again, because the more you practice, the better you get. And the amazing one, let's say the amazing article, you see I write one of these articles every day. Maybe let's say there's one amazing one in every 100. Well, I don't, you know, here they are, look at this. Okay, there's one, blah, blah, blah. There's one, blah, blah, blah. The next day, blah, blah, blah. I try to, now my thing I find, I kind of sculpt the words around the photograph. At the beginning of this series, about 4 years ago, I kind of covered the photograph with the text completely. Now it's really an act. It's really a part of my creativity is to sculpt the words around the image. You see there's the two key points in the image up in the top right there and in the bottom left, and I've made it that the words go around it. This has developed over the years. This has developed because I've done the same thing again and again, and I've realized I like this. I'm getting better and better at doing it, and it's become my thing. So what do you think your thing is? Got Thomas saying hello. Hello, Thomas. Good to have you here, Thomas. I hope you're being creative or not, you know, whatever is right for you at the moment. Got Dorothy saying, right now the words come from the thoughts I have, or gets in the now. Gets come from the thoughts I have. Right. Yeah, and to have interesting thoughts, you could just sit there and think. But I find that getting out there, getting out, meeting people, experiencing, it could be a museum or a film or a new park, and also walking in nature. That's my thing. What's your thing? Where do you go to get interesting ideas? Do you go somewhere? I mean, it could be sitting in your favorite chair at home, or it could be watching the fire, it could be in the shower. That's a classic one. Everyone says ideas come to me in the shower. Or it could be going out walking, or it could be talking to people, or it could be experiencing other people's creativity. That's one of my favorites. The best thing that can happen for me is that when I create a text or a picture and I put it out into the universe, someone reacts to it and creates something in their turn. This is the biggest gift for me. It's the biggest feeling of success I have, if you like, is that I've inspired someone else to create. I don't really believe in success and failure as such. I just believe in creating every day and sharing it and then learning from what happens. That's what I do. So I'm not, you know, I don't judge if I have an article that got 2 likes and another one that got 20. I don't really think that the one with 20 is better than the one with 2, because it could have been for any number of reasons. My success is getting it out there. My success is the creating. When I've created something and shared it without seeing what happens, I have succeeded. And as soon as I've succeeded, I have a mind like a butterfly. It floats around. To be honest, I don't know what a butterfly's mind is, but I know what butterflies are like. They flutter from one thing to the next. Boop, 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 boop. So my creativity is a bit like a butterfly's flight path, going from one thing to the next. So as soon as I've got something out there, I forget it and I move on to the next thing. There's a kind of a saying or a sort of a principle that I like for writers and for any creative people. What is your best ever writing? What is the thing you're most excited, you're most proud of, you're most excited about in your career? And the answer, the best answer that I like is the next one. What are you most excited about in your writing? The next one. In other words, don't dwell on the past. Be excited about the next one, the one that you're working on now, because then you're in the moment. So let's have a look at some more writing. So what was I saying here? Yeah, I was going to look at just a quick thing on my writing. I'm not going to read a whole one of these. I'm actually going to look at some of the starting sentences to show you, and I'm looking back on this without having thought about this when I was writing them. How do I start articles? How do you grab people's attention? So I'm going to just bring up these very quickly and see if the first sentence grabs people's attention, in my opinion. I don't know if it does, but hopefully it should. So here's one, and it says, how's that? Yeah, that's nice and big. An unlikely combination to see out of an average Paris office window. So what I've done is I've hinted at something, but I haven't told them what it is. So I've said that there's an unlikely combination. So if it's unlikely, they're going to think, why is it unlikely? Will I think it's unlikely? But I don't tell them what it is until after the colon. So you see, they need to read the second part of the sentence to find out what this unlikely combination is. They could have looked at the photograph, but they're reading, so they want to know. So in the second part of the sentence, it answers the first. It says what the unlikely combination is. A helicopter here and a hot air balloon there. And then probably I'm going to go on to describe why those two are together. So I've tempted people to continue. Even the first half of the first sentence is designed to make them read the second half. And once they've read the first sentence, they'll probably want to know more. Let's see if, like I said, I didn't do that as I was writing it. So let's see if it works in a few more. Welcome to one of the town's traditional urban pop-up pitch for the unrich Paris campsites. So that's one of my famous complicated first sentences. I've also made it a first paragraph because that was a heavy sentence. So I didn't want that to be lumped together with the next sentence. So I decided to make that a single paragraph. So does this entice you to read the second paragraph? Welcome to one of the town's traditional urban pop-up pitch for the unrich Paris campsites. Kind of. I mean, I'd like to know what I'm talking about. All those funny words. There's a campsite for the unrich. You know, what's that about? So that hopefully pulls you in. Here's the next one. Certainly one of the most unusually situated, if not quite the oddest restaurants in Paris. So the first part, one of the most unusually situated. So I've put the word unusual. Have I used that twice? No. In the other one, I said unlikely. I've said unlikely, but you have to read on to find what's unlikely. Here, I've used the word unusually situated, but I haven't told you what. I haven't said certainly one of the most unusually situated restaurants. No, I'm making you wait a little bit longer. So you know it's a restaurant by the time you get to restaurants in Paris, Monsieur, Dame. I give you ... and this again. You want to know what I'm giving you. 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗚 something like that, the name of the restaurant. And you're going to think also, that's strange, it doesn't look like a restaurant. So that was my attempt to drag you in on that one. Let's have a look. Okay, when we look at things more closely, when we look at things closely, we're simply seeing echoes of our own soul. Does that work? Does that drag you in? Well, look at the first half of the sentence. When we look at things closely, well, what? You want to know what happens when we look at things closely, according to the author, don't you? Well, we're simply seeing echoes of our own soul. Wow, that's kind of strange, deep. What does that mean? So then you're gonna read on because you want to know why, when you look at things closely, you're simply seeing echoes of your own soul, according to the writer. So it's an enticing sentence. It's like a statement, and you don't have to agree with this. It could be good if the reader doesn't agree. If they don't agree, they're going to read on to see what your reasoning is for saying that, and then they'll either agree or disagree. So starting with a statement is quite good. Yeah, this is a clear statement. It's not a question. Questions are good as well. It's not a question. I'm stating something, and that is inviting agreement or disagreement. So there you go. What about this one? Paris has become the central defining feature of my life, my mainstay, my mascot, my guiding light, although it's completely arbitrary, bien sûr. Why? The question I would like you to be asking yourself is why? Why has it become the central defining feature of my life? So think when you're writing, your first sentence is so incredibly important. Here's another. Now this one I think is more literal. I've got my tourist guide hat on. Here we are in the 17th arrondissement of Paris. I make you wait though. I make you wait just a little bit. Here we are in where is this? I don't believe it. Can that be Paris, really? And then I go on. So there's not so much intrigue in this. It's more of a straightforward introduction to an informative article about Paris. Second photo in a row of this fine fellow, just because they fell out of my mind that way. It's surprising how close he lets you get and doesn't seem at all perturbed by the presence of countless rubberneckers staring at him quite rudely. This again is more of an introduction to the photo and the place in Paris that it is. So I don't always use techniques trying to drag you in, but I often do, as you can see. So far it's 5 out of 9. Another world wouldn't seem possible anymore. Not on Luc Mélenchon's terms anyway. So that's kind of intriguing. Another world wouldn't seem possible anymore. Why not? What's going on? What am I talking about? And it's because this guy in the French election was promising a new world if you elected him, but we didn't. Not that I can vote in the French elections, but he didn't get in. So that's not so much dragging you in, but it kind of is. And then here's a final one for this exercise. Looking at first lines, one step at a time, minimum baggage, not alone, you have your shadow to keep you company. It's going to be a fun fandango. In fact, that's my one and only message. Enjoy the ride. So it launches in with no preamble to some feeling, some sensation, something. One step at a time. Minimum baggage. Not alone. So I'm setting the scene for, it's kind of a mystery. It's what am I talking about? Why am I saying that? Is this about this guy, or is it about me, or is it about you and life? And then I go into a little story. So yeah, one step at a time is quite enigmatic. It doesn't give you any information, but it makes you want to know, what about one step at a time? What are you talking about? What are you going to tell us here? So that was my showing you how I try to start every single article with not exactly a hook, but it could be a question. It could be a rather a statement, which is rather not aggressive. That's not the word I want, but you know, not necessarily everyone will agree with it. Do that, and people will read on to see you've caught them. You see, because if it's just banal, if it's just vanilla flavor statements, you know, like Paris is lovely in springtime. Yes, I'm sure it is, but you know, I didn't need you to tell me that. I needed you as the writer, if I'm reading, to make me question what you're saying, to make me think I'm going to learn something new, to maybe even to irritate or anger me or surprise me, but not, you know, Paris is lovely in springtime. You can go to this place or you can go to this place. No, that's not what we're into in creative writing. Let me go over now to an article I found. Oh no, let's go to the blog to see what you came up to, the Facebook page to grab an article. And I think Dorothy's going to be first. Creative blog and article writing. So the theme was looking down. Now I'm doing the same theme over the photography group, the creativity group itself, and writing. So not necessarily so easy, but hey, you can combine it with photographs. So here we go. This is me giving a photograph to inspire you. Maybe this will inspire you to write about going down. What do you think? It's my son Leo, going down deep into a very ominous looking metro station. Could that inspire some text from you? I haven't written about this photograph yet, so this photograph will inspire my text. So watch out for that if you like. But what about you? Why don't you write a short text about this. I'd love to see it. Here's Dorothy looking down, and here's the photograph. That's very, very scary, actually. Well, not really scary, but you know, it's bones and it's skulls and it's covered in glass. I can see a shoe in the bottom left there, so it must be under your feet. Whew. So what did you come up with? Looking down. I'm going to see if I can make this bigger. Thanks for contributing, Dorothy. Very much appreciate that. Looking down. Dorothy is Swedish, by the way, so English isn't her first language. It might not be her second either, because what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to get my name, my picture off the thing. Makes it a bit smaller, unfortunately. Looking down, visiting the church collegial Saint-Pierre here in Sifour yesterday. I saw these heads and bones lying under glass windows. I remembered there was a time, if I make it bigger, can I still see it? Yeah, I remembered there was a time after I got to be a healer, my hands started to vibrate every time I saw a skeleton or entered a graveyard. First, it was quite scary, as I didn't know why. Help! I'm healing a skeleton, I thought. What if I'm picking up a ghost? You are picking up information, someone explained. It is stored in the bone marrow. Well, there must be some reason they save on old bones and relics in different traditions and religions, isn't it? So words inspired by a picture, and I think that's one of the best ways to do it. That's one of my favorite ways. Okay, let's and we've got some nice comments there. This is from me, and this is a poem written a long time ago, and I'm saying that there are a lot of clicks under the finger since the time I wrote this. Shall I read it for you? And it's funny because it's called This Way Down, and there's a lot of downs in it, and this was the poem. It's a poem, actually, and the poem is on the picture. And when I thought of the theme looking down, I forgot about this, then I remembered. This Way Down. It's very strange when you look at your work years later, and I really, really recommend you write regularly, because when you look back, it's an incredible feeling. It's like looking back on you as a younger person. Sometimes you feel the same, sometimes you don't. This way down. So that's what I'm doing now. Trodden down. The only way is down, down dirty steps to the dizzy depths, down out of sight, well out of mind. Deep diving down to the rising tide from the downcast eye. Lay your money down. It's up to him, not down to me, to pick him up with cast-off hand-me-downs or a flea-bitten eider-down. And after all, when the storm dies down, who knows, perhaps he'll drown. There's a rhythm which I generally forget, and I try desperately to pick up the rhythm because I know when I write it, it's possible to read it, so it's got a beautiful rhythm right the way through, not always. And sometimes you need to get trodden down. The only way is down, down dirty steps to the dizzy depths, down out of sight, well out of mind. Keep diving down to the rising tide. Anyway, so that was playing. I don't think I've ever done that. No, maybe I have taken one word and repeated it so often, and yet trying to get it in expressions which are genuine expressions, and still following the feeling of the poem. You know, it's supposed to be following this guy who looks like a bit of a down and out, down the steps towards the river. Maybe that's where he's going there to sleep. Maybe that's where he lives. So that was very much a lot of fun, trying to get using the word down, not in a forced way, you know, down and out, playing with words, you know, down out of sight, well out of mind. There's an expression, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, but I said down out of sight, well out of mind, out of my sight. Diving down, so diving down to the rising tide. So he's going down, but the tide is coming up. The tide to wash him away, to wash his worries away. We don't know. I don't know why he's going down to the river. So photographs can inspire me so much. I recommend, if you're wandering around, take a few snaps of your environment, and especially people, and then look at them when you get back. If they've stirred you enough to take a photograph of them as you're walking around, even, you know, surreptitiously, don't let them see you. Don't have to let them see you. It's a choice whether you want to or not. Just pretend you're being a tourist. What was it that stirred in you? What the person you see? Maybe it's someone down and out. Maybe it's, you know, someone in a shop, looking bored or something. What was it that stirred in you? Get it out. Start to write about it and see what happens. For me, sometimes it's an article that comes out. Sometimes it's a poem. I like the layout of your text and the tone of it. Thanks, Dorothy. This, obviously, I decided to make the poem look like it's going down as well, to follow the steps. That's another thing you can do. You can put your words into the shape of something from the poem. If it's a poem about an apple, you can make it look like an apple with maybe the first word being the stalk going into the apple. And sometimes I try to sculpt my words, not so often because it takes a lot of time, but if I feel moved to do it, then I do. There's a kind of a half example on one of my latest writing things. It's here, this last one here. It's kind of a heart, but I didn't make a complete heart. I could have. I didn't have the patience to make it a perfect heart. But it is kind of a heart. It's more of a heart than anything else. When you look at it, you probably think heart. And it was a sort of a love poem. So it seemed right. And the poem made me think maybe I can structure it in a certain way. So the structure I was trying to fit it into eventually dictated to an extent was a certain percentage of the words that I chose and the lines that I chose and the length of the lines. So it's, you know, the influences can be multitudinous. There can be a lot of influences. It can be the idea you first had, it can be the photograph, and then it can be the form you're trying to fit it into. I often choose my words, I'm afraid to say, well, not afraid, but, you know, if I need, for example, if there's too much, if this line here was too close to the edge, I would try to find another word which still fitted the meaning, had the emotion I was trying to convey, but that was shorter. Simple as that, shorter. So the length of the line made me choose a different word. So, you know, it's kind of weird to say that. You wouldn't normally say that, but my format has become, this has become my thing. What's yours? I'll always say that. What's yours? Have you got one? Why not? Try one. Try to find a thing that you really like. These are the boundaries you're giving yourself. The boundaries which will allow you to be more creative. The restrictions which allow you to be more creative. That might sound strange. How can you be more creative if you give yourself restrictions? Well, it's like a test. It's like a challenge. How creative can you be within certain limits? For example, painters, you might decide to only paint in blue. I think Picasso, he painted a lot of blue paintings at one point. I think he painted some pink ones. A lot of artists, to have a style, you need to do something similar again and again. It's kind of what a style is. And a lot of artists choose something and they paint in the same style again and again. You get to know them for that. It might be painting in the same shape of a canvas. It could be painting with the same colors or the same subject matter, or using the same style or the same type of brush strokes. The same for writers. You could write in a short, choppy style, very short sentences, very succinct, not much detail, very literal, like Hemingway, I think, was famous for that. You could be very flowery, you know, you could use as many fancy adjectives as you can think of, or you could be a strange writer. You could be a surrealist writer, where the sentences don't seem to make sense, and yet eventually they kind of do. So what's your style? And I'll read this for you, might as well. Here it is. It's called How Far Is Love? And this was directly inspired by this lady on the bottom left going down the stairs, followed by a guy. This is in a museum. And this came to me, and I called it How Far Is Love? I'll follow you till my ice cream melts, till my sticky sherbet dip gives mum a fright. I'll follow you till the swings have stopped and the roundabouts still for the night. I'll follow you till my toy train set's broken in a battered attic box. I'll follow you forever till there's holes in my oldest socks. So for some reason, I took the point of view of a kid. I was looking for kiddie metaphors, kiddie things that would be important to a child. If you're following someone that you love and you want to tell them that, you know, you will follow them as far as they want to go, doesn't matter where they go. Normally it would be a boring adult poem, but I thought I want to make it much more charming, much more innocent. So I was looking for things which relate to the universe of a child. So I'll follow you till my ice cream melts, till my sticky sherbet dip gives mum a fright. Kids grabbing an ice cream, it's melting, but they're still going on, Sticky sherbet dip was a sweet. You stuck something into it, probably a bit of licorice or something, and you brought it out and you sucked it. You're basically sucking lemon flavored sugar. Terrible for your teeth, probably. That's probably why, you know, I had fillings and lost most of my childhood teeth before they were replaced by adult ones. Gives mum a fright, you know, when she sees the state of you. I'll follow you till the swings have stopped. The swings, the children's swings. I was going to have swings, roundabouts, and slide, but I stuck at roundabout. It was getting too much, you know. You don't. It's cute. It's nice to have a theme, but you can go over the top, and it can seem like you're desperately trying to fit every single thing in. So I stuck with, I'll follow you till the swings have stopped and the roundabouts. I have to watch out on the scanning here. I'll follow you till the swings have stopped and the roundabouts still for the night. I'll follow you till the swings have stopped and the roundabouts still for the night. I'll follow you till my toy train set's broken in a battered attic box. I'll follow you forever till there's holes in my oldest socks. As that line sort of narrowed down into the bottom of the heart, I realized I had fewer and fewer words, but I still wanted it to have the same rhythm as the other couplets. So I read it more slowly, you know. I'll follow you forever till there's holes in my oldest socks. So that was fun. I enjoyed writing that one. So something I promised you I haven't done yet. I'm going to go to the 24 Maxims of Writing. So this guy, it's from Medium. Medium is a place you can publish your writing. I'm seriously thinking about publishing my writing here. I don't know if you have to pay or not, if it's a good place to do it, if you have to follow silly conventions, or you can write anything you like. I don't know. But anyway, there's some interesting articles there, especially on sort of how-to articles, things like that. Oh, that was from the other one, Dorothy, thanks. So this guy said, while perusing through Medium articles, I kept stumbling upon punk. This guy is interesting. He's got these maxims, and he's got a certain, well, let me see if you feel the same. While perusing through Medium articles, I kept stumbling upon punctual inconsistencies, unnecessary prepositions, and excessive wordiness, otherwise known as clunky prose resulting in redundancy and dullness. Moreover, sometimes it felt as though I was transcribing a conversation at a cocktail party instead of reading a writing authority. This disturbed me. He uses a hell of a lot of big words, doesn't he? I mean, fancy words. I'm not sure if he's doing it because he thinks it's excellent, or if he's in a way tongue-in-cheek, showing that you can use too many big words. He's got to the point where he's using so many big words or fancy words. I'm asking myself, hang on a second, what's going on here? Is he trying to show off his vocabulary? Anyway, that's not the point. Because look, it goes on. A culture is forever remembered by its literary performance. Not quite. I refuse to be part of the generation that diminishes writing from indolence and lack of attention to detail. It is essential that we, as a writing community, continue and improve upon the standards of our craft. Okay, all right. Because he's presenting some key points for writers, and I'm going to look about 3 or 4 of them just to finish his intro. As a result, the 24 maxims that follow were birthed. Their wisdom stems from some of the most gifted writers and thinkers ever known. It is my sincerest wish that they will provide the reader with concise knowledge, so that we too may further the cause of exceptional writing. Wow, he's a man on a mission. He says G. Mitchell is interested in history, philosophy, psychology, evolution, and Zen Buddhism. Good for you. So thank you for writing this, and thank you for putting it up for us to read. So he says the Word. In the beginning was the Word. Nothing arrives before it. And he's saying the word, the single word, is the most important thing when you write. Diversify it, define it, know its etymology, so its origins, its roots, where it comes from, other words that stem from it. I'm just elaborating on that. Revive it, constantly search for the unknown and employ its usage. It's quite wordy, isn't it? It's really, really wordy what he's saying. If he himself has chosen every single word carefully, I don't know, I'm famous for, well, famous with myself for writing quite sometimes complicated sentences, but I think I've maybe met my match here. Many have erroneously said that arcane words decrease clarity. So if you have words that not many people know, it becomes less clear to read. But a few sprinkled about add to writing the way a dash of spice uplifts a bland dish. Okay, that's a nice metaphor. So a dash of spice to make a boring meal a little bit spicier and with a little bit more peps. That's good, I like it. I'm not analysing his writing, I'm actually trying to see what he's saying about the word. And a few sprinkled about, yeah. Yeah, so, you know, I use fancy words, you know, from time to time. I like it. That's the joy of writing. It's more difficult to use, you know, clever, really precise, highfalutin words when you're speaking, because people might, you know, think you're a bit pretentious. But when you're writing, well, they might think you're pretentious, but you can't see their faces, so it's not so bad. So a complex word can make prose succinct. Why use 3 or 4 common words when one can achieve the same purpose? Protect it and never ostracize it. The word is all a writer has. French people have an interesting habit, and that's not the word I want, but when they want to exaggerate something, they want to say something that is, you know, instead of saying something is nice, they want to say it's fantastic. Or if they're tired, instead of saying tired, they really want to say exhausted. They don't use the word for exhausted, they say fatigué is tired. They don't say je suis fatigué, they say je suis très, 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 très fatigué. Very, 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 very tired. And they don't normally use that in writing, but they do often use that when they're speaking. So I'm thinking, I often tell my French people that I'm helping with writing, you know, we don't really say that. We use the word that means very, very, very tired, you know, or exhausted, or any of the other ones. And they've got them. They've got plenty of words that they can use. So why don't they? So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of watching out. Watch out. Pop in little words that you like. If you don't know what the word is, you can always look for, you know, type into Google, what is the word for very, very, very tired? You will find a ton, you know, I'm sure. So don't be lazy on that one. You don't have to go over the top, because then you might get a bit pretentious. But if I look for, I'm just going to, yeah, I imagine I'll find, you know, how do you say, no, what is a word? Let's say, what is a word for very tired? You don't need very, very, very tired. Google gets it, right? Very tired. 289 synonyms and antonyms of tired. Extremely tired. Okay, let's see what that gives us. There's lots of synonyms, like words that are similar, and antonyms, words which are opposite. But look at this, 89 synonyms and antonyms for exhausted. 89. Look at this. This entire page is words, alternatives to very, very tired. So there's not really any excuse, is there? although you can occasionally use very. You know, very is a word. We're allowed to use all the words in the English language, but you know, don't. How much more interesting is you know, stonkered, stonkered, whacked out, running on empty, dog-tired, breathless, enfeebled, bushwhacked, zonked. These are fantastic, aren't they? Then again, you have to watch out for the register. You have to watch out for when they're appropriate. So there's two ways of looking at this. One is, who are you writing for? If you're writing a note to your mother, you probably wouldn't use the same word for tired as if you were writing an academic article. And then there's you. Maybe you have a writing style that is all you, and it doesn't matter who you're writing for, or you more or less use the same thing. In that case, you want to choose your words, the ones that you speak with or that you like. So, you know, either who you're writing for, choose your language because of that, or be true to yourself. You know who you are, you know how you write. That's the only reason that is going to make you choose certain words. So he's talking about the word as being all what a writer has. And I have to say, I spend a lot of time on words. Every day, my writing process is wake up, look at my photo of the day, choose it. If I haven't chosen it, look at it. And so that's, I'll wake up and I'll say, okay, this is the photo of the day. What can I do with this? What can I do with this? What does this say to me? What does it make me think? And then I'll think of a first sentence. Something will come to me, an idea. And as soon as the first thing comes to me, the rest flows. It normally comes because, like I was showing you, the first sentence should entice the reader in. Well, the first sentence entices my brain to come up with a second and a third and a fourth, it almost without fail. Sometimes the first is the most tricky. I don't know what I'm going to write. I might have 2 or 3 ideas. I don't know where to go with it. And as soon as you start, something will happen. And then I write, and if I'm lucky, I have enough time to not publish it the same day, because I publish things immediately almost. But the thing is, you really must leave it till the next day, if possible. At least sleep on it, because when you come back to it, you see it with new eyes. And you will spot the words, as the guy was saying, you'll spot the words that aren't quite right, or you'll think of a better one, or you'll notice repeated words, and you can get rid of one of them. This is great. So the words, yeah, I mean, the words are what we have. It's what a writer has. It's like, they're not infinite. Well, they are actually, because you can invent your own words as well. And of course, there's foreign language words, nonsense words. So to be honest, words are as infinite as the color combinations you can make up on a palette and on a painting. In a way, I would almost say, I don't think they're as infinite as the colors you can produce, but they seem more infinite. I know that's nonsense. They seem more infinite because colors, you kind of in your head, you've got, you know, red, blue, green, yellow, purple, orange, and variations on that, you know, darker, lighter, stronger, paler. But words, it's like a huge ocean to dip into. Open a dictionary. You know, there's quite a few words in a dictionary. Do you use them all in your poems? Probably not. Pick one at random and try to use it. So yeah, so words are wonderful. Words are my playground. They should be your playground as well. Enjoy words. You can come at them from so many different ways. You know, you can chew them around, the way they feel in your mouth. In combination, of course, how do they feel together? In poetry, that's so important. In prose, so just normal writing, I often have a lot of words which play on each other, similar sounds, a lot of alliteration, so two words beginning with the same letter. It's constantly happening, and I don't really draw a line between them. Let's see what did this inspire. Is it worth reading now? What you can't see on this cigarette packet, that's a cigarette packet in between my legs, is what you can't see on this cigarette packet. So you see, I'm giving people a little bit of an intrigue. Yeah, what can't I see? What is there on there that I can't see? Why is it worth writing about? Is the charming message which says smoking increases the risk of impotence, and a picture of somebody's lower half with a gaping hole where the goodies should be. Eye-watering. And to be honest, I took this photograph thinking that you could, where my legs meet my body at the top there, that's where on the cigarette packet there's a massive hole. It's like it's ripped in the picture and there's nothing. I was thinking of doing something with that, but I left myself intact for the moment. Smoking's a funny thing. Why is it a funny thing? I'm trying to make you read on to find out why I think smoking's a funny thing. Smoking's a funny thing. And also, it's not funny, is it? It's not really a funny thing at all. But funny has two meanings. It can mean ha-ha or funny ha-ha or funny peculiar. I'm constantly looking for double meanings. This is what makes writing rich and delightful as well. Look for double meanings. And some of the people you're writing for will see them too, and they'll like it. And other people won't, and that's okay. Smoking's a funny thing. Apparently, 9 out of 10 deaths from lung cancer are directly caused by cigarettes. It seems obvious, really, and yet some of us still keep on doing it. So this article, I'm talking about smoking. Why would I be talking about smoking? This is supposed to be a series, my lifelong series on the city that I love, Paris. Yes, but no, because in fact, I let my mind go wherever it wants to. I try to keep it linked to Paris somehow. So this photograph is in Paris. It's a Paris cigarette packet. So in Paris, cigarette packets have these horrible pictures on them. Many of my articles from these photos are about Paris. Okay. But still, I let my imagination go where it wants to. These are chronicles. These are what Paris inspires in me. I found my vehicle, pictures of Paris, and many references to Paris. That's kind of that's my framework, if you like. And the limits I was talking about earlier, do you remember I was talking about limiting yourself to blue if you're a painter, for example, or shades of blue? Well, my limits are for my daily writing is this square photograph and this font size, and trying to be able to see some of the photograph behind the text. So I've imposed those limits, but within those limits, I can then talk about anything I like. And you know, we're all human beings. We think about silly things sometimes, we think about deep things sometimes, and we think about things we're passionate about. So I'm passionate about Paris, the history and everything. I also have some sort of silly nonsense sometimes. Poetry, that's my thing. I put poetry on these. Some of the social issues, if I see a homeless person, I might talk about homelessness, and deep and meaningful stuff. You know, I have given myself my own framework and my own criteria for what I do. And it's pretty wide, but I've got this series. You know, this is number 1573 square photo with text on top in a row in that number of days. So I've been writing every day and publishing a Paris photograph every day for 1,579 days. And I'm not a third of the way through this project yet. So it's big, it's really big. And because I've found something I could stick to, I'm sticking to it. It might sound weird, this square thing, but I just happen to like squares. So find something that you think is really cool and unique, or, you know, at least, you know, you haven't done it before, you think you don't know anyone else who does it, you really think it's cool. And find a way in which you can sculpt your work, you know, shoehorn or delicately, lovingly squeeze or press or place your words into that vehicle. It could be short stories, it could be poems, it could be haiku poems or another type of poem. It could be memes. It could be articles, could be diary entries, journaling. Find something that is your thing and do a lot of it. Remember I was saying at the beginning, the more you do it, the better you get. How mind-blowingly obvious and cliched is that? Yeah, so it's a cliche because it's true. The more you do it, the better you get at it. You won't get better unless you do it a lot. That's the thing, you see. You won't instantly get better. You only get better by doing it a lot. So do it a lot and you will get better. And don't you want to get better? The better you get, the more you enjoy it and the more you want to do it, the more positive feedback you get, which makes you want to do it even more. And don't forget, if 1 out of 100 of your creations is going to be amazing, and why shouldn't it be? Could be a lot more. But let's say just 1 out of 100. That means, and in my case, that means every 100 days I create one amazing thing, one really, really good thing. And maybe 98 average things, and maybe one really bad thing. Who knows? And by whose judgment anyway. But you know, maybe the really amazing one is going to be the first one, but maybe it's the 100th one. Keep on writing. The joy should be in the writing, not in the reactions to it. The joy should be in the fact of being a writer. I'm a writer. I write every day. That's just what I do. That's what I do. It's part of what I am. And some people will like it and some people won't. But I think I'm producing some good stuff. You can say this to yourself. I think I'm producing some good stuff. I'm pleased. And I love sharing it. And you can share anything that you've created and people will like it. So let's carry on. I've only got about 10 minutes or 5 minutes. And I've only done one of this guy's things. Here's another thing. He says the sentence. I'll make it bigger. The sentence is second in importance only to the word. It's interesting. He's done the sentence full stop. And then he started his next sentence with is, which is a continuation of the sentence. So that's kind of weird. So this guy, he's funny. He's interesting. He's using lots of fancy words. And yet he does some things which are a little bit, odd. The sentence is second in importance only to the word. Craft it, revise it, and seldom be satisfied by it. Okay, seldom be satisfied by it. Okay, allow it to be laconic, sharp, and concise. Sentences deserve to be sculpted into existence. Oh, I like that. I like that. Once a lump of stone, David was not chiseled in a day. Treat sentences the same way. Superfluous words and redundant syntax are its death. We all have our personal beliefs on what good grammar and good syntax and good punctuation are. Just as an example, I'm not trying to be clever, but just to show that this guy, who is obviously a very accomplished writer, very good with words, here when he says once a lump of stone, can I make this bigger? It's kind of small, isn't it? Once a lump of stone, there you go. David was not chiseled in a day. Treat sentences the same way. I'd be tempted to put maybe a semicolon here rather than a comma. Now we can get into some real fancy talk about punctuation. That can be something we do. We can do that every fortnight on the show. We can have a section. Maybe I could make that a section on punctuation or a section on grammar or something like that. What about that? Grammar section. Does that sound good? Grammar, vocabulary, and punctuation. Does that sound sexy? Or does it sound unbelievably boring? Punctuation. Oh, of course. I want curiosities as well. English curiosities. Crazy, wild English. I've got a big collection of them. English curiosities. And, some amazing wordplay. Poetry. What about poems of the week? Poem of the week. That would be good. Not the wook. Poem of the wook. Poem of the week. Oh, there's so much stuff we can talk about here. I've just got to get a structure, this famous structure that I'm talking about for me, which is, I can't say my words are structured into squares, but my words are structured into daily posts of a certain number of words sculpted around a picture, memes. Let me show you a meme a couple of memes I've created recently. So let's finish this thing. Once a lump of stone, David was not chiseled in a day. Treat sentences the same way. He's got a rhyme there. And this is the sort of thing I often do. Doesn't it make it nice? Once a lump of stone, David was not chiseled in a day. Treat sentences the same way. There's a flow to it. He's not writing a poem. He might not even be doing that on purpose. And yet it gives it a feel, a nice feel to it. Superfluous words and redundant syntax are its death, the sentence. It, referring back to the sentence. The only thing here is he says, treat sentences the same way. You might think he would say, superfluous words and redundant syntax are their death, if it follows on from sentences. But he's going back to the sentence. So it's singular. This is fussy stuff, you know, and you could look at my stuff, my writing, and you'd say, yeah, well, look, this is all over the place. But, you know, that's what you get tempted to do. That's why critics are a waste of space, I think. You know, you can analyze, you can talk about it, but criticizing things, you know, saying this is good, this isn't good, it's very dangerous. And I think critics, they should actually be spending their time writing. And probably they say about critics, they can't do the thing, so they criticize it. They can't cook, so they criticize cookery. They criticize cooks, you know. They can't produce music themselves, so they criticize other people's music or writing. Okay. Thank you. I'm leaving now. Thank you, Dorothy, for watching. Really appreciate it. Lovely to see you. See you again soon. And I never remember if I was or I were. If I was or I were. Oh my God. Well, if I were you, I would use was most of the time. Sorry. Were is weird. Were is weird. Officially, especially with if, we say if I were you, if I were younger, if I were young again, I would do everything differently. It should be was, you know, theoretically it should be was, but we often use were in that case. But these days you can use I was, but you only use it in that structure, or structures similar. You wouldn't say I were at the restaurant yesterday and I saw my friend Sally. That's wrong. But when it's a structure such as if I were you, then you have a choice. You have the traditional one, which is were, and you have if I was you, which is the kind of dumbing down in a way, but also maybe bringing it back to what normal grammar is, you know, I was. So that's a kind of a tricky one. That's the beauty of English, you see. There's lots and lots of anomalies and weird stuff. That's what makes it so delicious. Okay, so we'll probably stop with this. Superfluous words and redundant syntax are its death. Yes, so let's stop there. That is a good place to stop at the end of a sentence, don't you think? Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Was that a song? A song somewhere? Yeah. So have I done anything and everything that I wanted to do? I've got other tips. I found tips to help build your confidence as a poet. So I'll look at that next time, hopefully. Look at one or two of those. I've shown you the structure of my articles on lazypig.com. I've shown you on parissetmefree.com my latest writing, read you a little bit, and especially concentrating on the first lines. How do I try to drag you in to read the rest of it? So feel free to read those. I'd love you to. You can find all of those on if you want my latest ones every day as they're published, it's facebook.com/sabparis. Facebook, but you know me, you can see my profile anyway. Just click on my picture. I'll be reading you some more of these maxims very soon to see if there's some interesting stuff there. Now, the new theme, I'm thinking of a new theme, and it's going to be something to do with walks. I'm not sure if it's going to be my favorite walk or my perfect walk or an unusual walk, but it's something about walks. So it's going to be simple and anything that conjures in you. It could be something about the flowers you see budding or the flowers you see getting old if you're on the other side of the globe. So something about walks. I'm thinking a favorite walk or something like that. Please contribute your words to the fortnightly theme, or contribute anything at any time. I'm very happy to see you do that. I didn't mention any more of I should have read some more of Dorothy's actually, shouldn't I? Maybe I'll do it now so that. Oh no, that's not the blog. That's the okay. Oh, hang on. What size is that? There we go. That's 100. Yep. So Dorothy is contributing wonderfully. Good old Dorothy. Lots of interesting stuff. She's writing lots of things. She's being inspired by the comments, by the theme, by photographs. She's looking down. Really good stuff. So thank you, Dorothy, for being our star contributor in the last couple of weeks. There's another poem of mine. Is that about down? I'm not sure if that's about down or not. No, that was moving on from the last one. Okay. And of course, this theme is transgroupal, which means that it's in the writing group, it's also in the creativity group, and it's also in the photography group. So photography group, although we're starting a new theme now, but so the new theme will be from today. It will be something about walks, a favorite walk, something like that, and see what that inspires in you. Walking, some sort of walking, your favorite walk, a secret walk, something like that. Okay, so yep, follow all my stuff, most of my stuff on my facebook.com/SabParis page. And what's this? Oh yeah, this is another thing that I write. This is for English learners. It's called Sab's English Fun Letter. It's over on funenglishlessons.com/blog, funenglishlessons.com/blog, and I write a newsletter. And it's a bit of chat about myself. We look at some words, we look at some expressions, idioms, and so it's for learners of English. But you know, you might be interested. And it's sort of personal stories. There's a news item as well, news item from the BBC. Definitions of idioms, and there is a photograph of mine which I invite you to describe in as much detail as you can. And there's also a video. I record it all on video, so you can watch the video. If you're learning English, watch it without reading, because as I go through the video, I show you what I'm reading. I'm reading this page, in fact. So if I go down here, as I read, you can see what I'm reading.
Yes,
so,
I shouted happily.
So if you want to do that, you can. That's it, folks. Thanks very much for watching. This has been another amazing episode of the Creative Blog and Article Writing Show. Send me your stuff. Become part of this and comment on it, on other people's things as well. And let's keep it going. I'm on holiday next week, so I will see you in 3 weeks' time, or I will see you on not next week, but the week after. I have on the Tuesday it's the photography show, on the Thursday it's the writing show today. The next Tuesday after my holiday next week will be about creativity, still on the theme of looking down, and then Paris. The following Thursday it's Paris. Everything and anything I can think of to tell you about the weird and wonderful world of the city of light and shadow in all its historical curious glory. And that's coming soon. This is Sab in Paris, checking out. And if you want, by the way, if you want coaching from me, go to infinitycoaching.biz and I can coach you. Creativity coaching, helping you to be as creative as you would love to be. Incredibly powerful stuff. You should be creative. For me, it's as close as I can get to spirituality. Feeling that I'm alive is when I'm creating and sharing and learning from it. So that's what I do. So if you want some powerful coaching from me, check out infinitycoaching.biz and I will see you very soon. Bye for now from the Happy Therapy Franglais something or other.